Like, I can't do more with what I have. Like, I literally can't. So for me to compare myself as well with other people, it's not a good thing. Stan Brownie vibes. Ever since I started with the vlogs, I have actually never talked about social media, even though that's basically what I'm doing or what I'm using all the time. I want to say some things about social media and everything, and why I use it, why I think it's really good, and how it's extremely powerful. I think it's one of the most powerful platforms that you can use, in the sense that you can reach an incredible amount of people. And it doesn't really matter what you're using it for. Of course, it's gonna be, you can reach people in sense of business, but also in sense of information and inspiration. Like, in general, a lot of things you can do with it. But the key point is that you can reach a lot of people. Well, and then of course you can choose what you do with that value. That is the thing. Of course, I'm still really young, but I've worked at different workplaces. The places that don't understand social media, it doesn't matter if you're, a company that don't use social media, but you still need to understand how extremely powerful it is. And I want to give 2 examples. One of them is how you treat people. Because I've been to places where you get treated like absolute shit by a company. And this is the dangerous part. Like, even if a company doesn't owe you anything, as a company, you gotta be really careful, because if you have someone that does not like you and have a lot of impact on social media or understand how it works, you can get an extreme bad reputation quick. And this is the dangerous part. So even if a company doesn't use social media, you gotta understand that you can't still do whatever you want. You still gotta understand that, all right, this might have impact, or this can affect my company in a bad sense. So as a company, you gotta understand the power of social media, even if you're not using it, that it still can affect you. That's one point. Then the other thing is when it comes to marketing. Like, if you have a company and you want to be up to date with today's, technology and information, and of course social media included, you gotta understand how damn powerful it is, and that you can target people. Like, before, when it came to ads, and people would pay to get ads on, it would be YouTube, or it could be they had Facebook as well, Instagram ads, everything. And of course, you pay, you get targeted, they have information about people, so the ads are gonna be targeted to people that are most likely gonna buy the product or whatever it may be. But what you're gonna understand with social media is you can basically do the same thing, but for free. And you can target people in the sense that you do content that is directed to those people. So if you're a company, if you do content in a way, of course you need a lot of creativity for it, but you can target people because you're doing a specific content that's most likely gonna reach these types of people. And if you're a company and you understand that, you can save a lot of money and even reach more people than what you would do with paid ads. And that's really powerful. And here is the third point. I don't know, I think I only said 2, but the third point as well is, if you're a person that's not using social media, if you still understand what social media is, and you could, like, in the future, potentially all companies are gonna be relying or involved in social media in some sense. So if you have some knowledge about it, there is gonna be literally infinite amount of work as well. You could be an entrepreneur just doing, helping people build platforms, helping people, understand social media as well. And I think that's really powerful for us young people, because we've been, born and raised during the time that social media has been growing. So we have a good foundation and understanding about it. So, for example, when I watch social media or Instagram post or whatever it may be, I always think about, all right, in this video, if it's a viral one, why did this one go viral? Why did people catch and stay focused? Why did people watch this thing? And then you start to see those patterns, and you sort of, it's almost an unconscious psychology course that you're taking when you're starting to analyze why, like, how people interact, how people act depending on different videos. And when you start to understand, see those patterns and see what works and what doesn't, that is extremely powerful, and you can use that in your advantage. And of course this takes a lot of time. I don't think there's a course you can go for it. Maybe it's online courses, of course it is for everything, but in my opinion the thing that works the best is if you actually get in the game and you start to practice these things. And it doesn't have to be that you start to do content, but just being cautious of, for example, if you're scrolling and you start to watch a video, then just think about like, all right, why did I watch this? What's the hook and those type of things. And when you understand that, you understand what people get their attention on, it can be used to your advantage depending on what you want to do. And then we're back to what you're actually using it for. For example, for me, of course, it can be a great way of earning enough money for you to do what you love. I think that's the like freedom in social media, is that you can do almost whatever you want if you do it interesting enough, and then make a living from that, and then sort of earn your freedom. The other thing is also spreading information, knowledge, growing things. Like for me, calisthenics, for example, it's still a small sport, but it is damn fascinating to watch. No matter who I show a video of, or no matter who's watching a calisthenics athlete perform, they are gonna be pretty fascinating, because of course it doesn't look realistic, especially in the higher level skills. And that is working extremely well on social media, because it's eye-catching, it's nice to watch. And therefore social media is probably one of the reasons why calisthenics have such a potential to grow as well, because people will see it. It's a fascinating sport that like, oh damn, this is interesting. And then not a lot of things is required for them. Let's say they see someone perform, and then maybe later someone talks about like, yo, I heard about this calisthenics thing, should we give it a try? And then they're like, yeah, I've seen it a lot, I've seen it as well, let's give it a try. And then they try it out, maybe they stick for it, and boom, they're stuck with the sport. Pretty much how it was for me. Like I saw Daniel License on social media, like on YouTube doing a performance. And then when I got more into training and people started to talk about it, you know, I always referred to, all right, even if I'm doing pull-ups right now, I know that this is literally the foundation that might lead me to actually performing on this level that the people I saw on social media did. So that's why it's extremely powerful. And also I think YouTube, in a sense now as well, me doing these vlogs, there's not a lot of people actually showing too much training within calisthenics. And I also think, of course, it's a small sport, so the odds of someone doing it is smaller. And also probably there's not a lot of people, that the demand of people wanting it might not be as much as if I were to do for another sport, getting in depth, because there's a lot more people that might know about it. Let's say football or whatever it may be. Calisthenics it's always been a small sport, and the people that perform at high level and probably have a lot of experience, they focus a lot on the competition and other things. I think that's a gap as well. That's why I really like doing these ones as well, because it seems like people really appreciate it, and then it's fun to do for me as well. It keeps me motivated, and of course it doesn't require too much. And sometimes it's even good for me, because if I say something, I have to think about it before I say it, especially when it comes to training and how the body works and everything. Like I can't just talk from experience, to some degree about different things, but I can't just say things that are not true based on fact, like not always just say opinions. So before I say something, I have to think about, all right, is this a good thing to say or not? And of course I try to just be as transparent as possible, but everything I can't just say, because it's gonna be different for everyone. Me doing these vlogs also, it makes me, you know, just think a bit more about my training as well. Like, all right, this is the structure I have, but if I were to present the structure to thousands of people, would it be a good structure, or is there something I have to change? So for example, this progressive overload that I've been talking about, or you know, me always making exercises harder, that's something I've been way more strict with now when I'm doing the vlogs, because it wouldn't look good if I just did the same thing for a long time. And of course this is the way you have to train. But if I didn't do the vlogs, sorry for the darkness, if I didn't do the vlogs, I might be a bit more loose on that end, because no one is gonna notice it, if that makes sense. Even if I'm a, you know, strict athlete, I'm just human. Like there's gonna be days where I'm like, all right, no one is gonna know if I skip this session or not, so fuck it, I skip it. That happened from time to time. And of course we are just human. I can't just go this beast mode for many years in a row. It just doesn't work. I would burn out. This with the vlogs, it definitely keeps me extremely consistent. And I think that's another thing with social media, is that if you use it to your own advantage as well, that people hold you accountable. Like if I were to go dead silence for a while, people would ask, where the fuck are you? This can be really useful for me because it keeps me disciplined. I'm motivated to do things. I know that people are expecting me to show up. I know that people are expecting me to perform at a certain level. When you understand that and use it to your advantage, it's goddamn powerful. And that's where I am right now. I am consistent, and that's also who I want to be. Like, I don't have to be the absolute best in what I do, because in the end of the day, like, people are gonna be talented when we are, like, certain people are gonna be differently good for different sports. If there's someone with just the perfect genetics, perfect talent, and they are putting in the work, they are gonna outperform the majority of the people, or, you know, be literally the best in the game. That's how it works. To some degree, I know that if I don't care about genetics, if I don't care about if I'm, you know, good for this sport or not, I just look at how much work am I putting in. And if people know me for my work ethics, for what I'm doing, for knowing that, all right, this dude, he's showing up even in the days where he's feeling like shit, even on the days where he is performing extremely bad, even when he's, you know, having pain or whatever it may be. If I'm known for that person, I feel like I have accomplished something, because that is literally the maximum of the potential I have. Like, I can't do more with what I have. Like, I literally can't. So for me to compare myself as well with other people is not a good thing. And I think maybe that's also another thing I want to mention about social media, is it is literally just the best versions of people that are shown on social media. Majority. Then you have people that have done it for a really long time, and those accounts sort of grow into more and more personal. Because if I were to do social media, let's say 5 years, if those 5 years is me being a person I'm really not, that's gonna take a lot of effort, and most likely I'm not gonna be able to do it for 5 years. But if I'm myself and do something for 5 years, it's not requiring me, it doesn't take that much effort for me to do something, because I'm just me. Like with these vlogs, like, it doesn't require too much effort from me, because I'm literally just saying what I'm thinking about, or being who I am. And that in the long run is gonna work really good. And therefore, most likely, if you see someone that has been doing content for a really long time, you can sort of, or I assume they are more and more towards who they actually are, because otherwise they wouldn't done it for that long. It wouldn't be sustainable. So that's one thing. When it comes to social media, you're gonna see literally the peak things in different lifestyles. Like if I were to scroll on my For You page, I would get some of the best calisthenics athletes doing crazy stuff. Then I would get some people that are doing these crazy travels. They're, you know, traveling the world, doing, you know, these beautiful trips. That's what I'm gonna see. Then I might see people with these huge houses that have these crazy cars. Then you have, you know, someone else maybe, you know, a different lifestyle and accomplish insane amounts in that area. But here's what we gotta understand is, these are different areas in life. The truth is that I most likely cannot reach the highest potential in all these areas. And I don't want to do it either. I just gotta understand that everything I see on social media, yes, it is 100% guaranteed, you know, doable to achieve one of these things, because that's what you focus on. But to have all of these things, you're most likely never gonna see a influencer or an account where they have all of them, if that makes sense. Just gotta understand that we can't get everything. If I ask myself, like, am I successful? And I would say yes, in training, in the sense of, you know, training, in the sense of how I look, maybe body-wise, training-wise. But then, am I successful from economy or finance? And I would ask myself, like, maybe not yet, but that's something I do want to work up against. Am I successful with family, friends? I would say yes, pretty much. I'm not spending as much time with them as I would love to, but the contacts I have, the few people I have extremely good connection with. And like in my surrounding, I love every single one of them. So I would definitely say that I am successful with the friendships I have. So then it's literally like down to 2 areas, like training and friendships. That's where I've been golden in. If in general, if I would ask myself, am I successful? I'm like, yes, because this is what I want to do. This is what I've been targeting my focus on. But if I were to look on social media, I would be like, damn, I'm not even close. And like, yeah, I am far away from, you know, doing those other things that people do. Because that's different areas and different things that people are being focusing on. I think it's back to something I mentioned a long time ago, like you gotta first understand what you want in life, what you love to do, and what is success for you. Because then you can start to be like, all right, this is where I want to reach. Because if I'm just looking randomly out in the world, there's gonna be success in so many different phases. And it's gonna be impossible to be successful in them. Just have that in mind. So don't compare yourself too much, especially not to things that you don't even want to be like. For me personally, if I just were given infinite money and then didn't have fitness, that is not a lifestyle I would want to have. For me, it's more about everything I do with my body, and that is where I feel joy and grateful from. Then of course money part, you need it to some degree, but for me to just have infinite money and be successful with economy, let's say, it's just to some degree we need money, but that is not true success for me. It's one type of success, but for me it's more about fitness area. That's where I truly feel joy from. So if that's something I can do, just grow from, I'm gonna stick with that.